Hello everybody, Jacob Lawler from The Office here to do a quick training class on closing buyers. Buyers, we're all working with them. Sometimes they can be challenging to close if we don't have the right tools and strategies and dialogues to be able to get it done. So I wanted to go over some quick little thoughts that I had previously written down on things that have helped me and in terms of helped other agents that I've coached this to. So pardon me if every so often I will from time to time glance down to make sure that I'm giving you every single piece of information that I can give you, at least in this one video, because of course it's impossible to know everything about closing a buyer in one video, but I'll do the best that we can with here today in one take, because we're going to make this thing happen. First of all, there's a common phrase in real estate sales, and that is that buyers are liars. It's commonly thought that buyers will just tell you anything and don't really know what they want, when in reality we're not asking the right questions to be able to properly advise them as to what's the best situation for them. So the first thing that we should kind of do a delineation with before we kind of talk about procedure is that buyers, or anyone for that matter, will make decisions based upon emotion, and then they'll go back and justify it with logic. So sometimes we focus too much on comps and this and that, when in reality the first step is, are they emotionally attached to the home, or do they have an emotional reaction to the home, at least a positive one? So there's really three stages of a buyer thought process where we have to close or convert or whatever phrase that we want to use. But there's really three phases that a buyer has to answer yes to. The first question is, should I buy at all? The first thing is, should they buy at all? Is their situation right for them? Is the timing right for them? Is blah, 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 blah. So the first question they're going to be asking themselves, and in turn we have to ask of them, is should they buy at all? The second stage is, should we buy this house? Is the house right for them? Is the bedroom count, the bathroom count, the layout, everything, is that house right for them? And the third question that they have to answer for themselves is this the right house at the right price? So three stages: should I buy it all? Should I buy this house? And should I buy this house at this price? I want to make sure that we understand our job is not to answer number one for them. It's not our job, and it's none of our business to know or to try to convince somebody, yes, they should buy. It's their house to buy. It's their house to sell in case it's a seller. We should not try to convince somebody to buy, because at the end of the day, they have to live with that decision on whether it's a good decision or bad decision. So I like to say, if this is a good decision for you, I'd like to help you make it. If this is a bad decision for you, I want to help you avoid it. So our job is not to convince somebody to buy. Our job is to find someone who's already convinced to buy, convince them and demonstrate to them that we are the best one to represent them, and ultimately help find them the right house for them. Additionally, we should be judging a buyer by their actions, not their words, because everybody thinks that they have a motivated buyer, when oftentimes in reality they're not actually motivated, because we often confuse responsiveness with motivation. I'll generally get questions from an agent asking, "Hey, how can you help me convert this buyer?" And and I'll say, "Well, what's their motivation?" And they'll say, "Oh my goodness, they're totally motivated. They're taking all my calls. They're asking questions and So always take a buyer by their actions, not their words. Don't mistake responsiveness for their motivation. So you should be judging them by one thing when we're talking about motivation and all of that. Judge them with the action on, are they taking the next indicated step? The first thing is, are they being responsive? Are they opening your emails? Then are they taking your phone calls? But then are they taking those next steps? Are they talking to a lender? What I like to call arranging for financing, because nobody likes to talk with a lender, but are they arranging for their financing? Then are they going out and looking at houses with you? Then when they're looking at houses, are they writing offers? Then after they're writing offers, are they writing realistic offers? And then after they're writing realistic offers, are they making that critical decision in the moment when they get a counteroffer back where they can say yes? Always judging a client by their next indicated step, never by how responsive or just what they're telling you with their words. Also, in order to close a buyer, if you want to help on conversion, the first thing you absolutely have to know is, what is that buyer's motivation, right? So when a buyer you are on a relentless pursuit of the truth. Never take the surface level answer of, oh yeah, we need to buy a home because we need a bigger house. Okay, well, why do you need a bigger house? Tell me about your current living situation. How much of a bigger house do you need, right? And do you really need that space? You'll hear oftentimes in our market area in here, very commonly we'll hear people say, well, we want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet under X price. But then when you say, well, do you really need 3 sleeping bedrooms? Or would 2 bedrooms plus a loft or plus an extra office space? And you get a deeper level understanding of really what their motivation is. And whenever an agent asks me to help with converting one of their buyer clients, I will always immediately go to their motivation. I will ask those tough questions because we should be asking those tougher questions to our clients to really uncover what their true needs are. Because you will have time and time again those buyer clients who will come to you and say, I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, single-family home with a great yard, who end up buying a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo with a little balcony. It's because we need to uncover the true motivation on what really matters to them and be able to move forward. Now, when it comes down to converting them on the house, right? Because there's the 3 options. The should I buy it all, which is not our job to determine, but it's our job to uncover. Then the second stage is, should I buy this house? Now, we can play the what if game all day long, and the clients do that in their own heads, right? Will there be a better one that comes up? So you will routinely have that resistance from a buyer, especially if it's a first-time home buyer. They will always second guess. Should we look at this one? Especially if, oh my goodness, it's your first time going out looking at them and they fall in love and it's a great buy and you know it because you've seen every home on the market, but it's their first one. Sometimes it's really, really difficult to overcome that objection or that hurdle of the what if another one comes on the market. Whenever there's a home that fits what they're looking for, inevitably you will get the question, what happens if another one comes up on the market? I'm a huge fan, and what has worked for me and other agents in the past is teaching the client first off about the purchase agreement, and that the protection clauses that are there built into, as I'm currently recording this video, 10 pages of a legally binding contract, the most of which is actually protections geared to the buyer. So letting them know that the offer is just the beginning of the process. We're not saying that we're out there with our sleeping bag or our blow-up mattress and we're going to spend the night in the house tonight. But if you think that this home could fit what you're looking for, and if nothing else comes up on the market in the next whatever time, that this would truly fit what your needs are, let's tie up the property to at least give yourself the option of saying no later. Meaning, let's say you do the physical inspection and there are tons of things wrong with it. That's what the inspection contingency is built in for. Let's say the home doesn't appraise for the value in which that we're trying to set. That's what the appraisal contingency is there for. What if you don't actually formally become approved for the loan? That's what the loan contingency is built in for. The offer is just the beginning of the process, about 30 to 45 days. So if you have a client who's debating on a house, the first thing we should do is, does it actually fit what they're looking for, or at least check enough of the boxes where it makes sense? The next step is tying up the property to give yourself the option of saying no later. The last one that you'll get very commonly is the price objection. Should we buy this house at this price? And here's an easy way to go about that. The first thing I do is get the price out of the way. Price aside, do you even like the house? Because if they don't like the house, any price is too high. So what I would encourage you to say is, price aside, does this house fit what you're looking for? Or price aside, do you even like the house? And they say, yeah, Jacob, I totally love the house. Well, tell me, what is it that you love about the house? Revisiting the motivation about why they connect emotionally with that home. Let them, if you can be in the house, even better. Tell me, what is it that you love about this house? Where would you sleep here? Where would you do that? Get them set up emotionally attached with it. So an easy thing is, so it seems like this home could really fit what you guys are looking for, and have them say, yes, absolutely, we would love to live here. Just what do you think about the price? You can tell them this. Look, if you love the home, let's chat on pricing. Okay? Based upon what you've been seeing with what other homes in the neighborhood have been selling for, and the sales pressure that's on this house, because I've already talked with the listing agent to know that there are either no offers on the table, or one offer on the table, or multiple offers on the table. Based upon the value of the home because of comparable sales and the sales pressure on the home, what would you feel comfortable offering for this house? And let them respond. If they're realistic, let's write it up. If they don't know and they say, well, you're the expert, what do you think? Because they're always going to try to put it on to you. An easy switch back to them is to go, hey, you know what? I totally understand. Here's the value again in all of this. At what price would this house be a no-brainer for you? Again, your goal is to get them to say a number, any number, even $1. If they say $1, great, I would too. I'd take 5 of them. But realistically, what would be a no-brainer for you? Let them respond with some number of some kind. Again, if that number is realistic, great, let's write it up. If they then come back and give you some other number that really doesn't make any sense, like, if the house is worth $500,000, they say, well, if I can get it for $400,000, it'd be a no-brainer. Of course, realistically though, what would be a no-brainer for you? Let them respond with something. Then, if you know it's multiple offers and XYZ reason and it's still not going to get the job done, at least in your mind, you can take it a step further and say, well, at what price would you regret not offering if you find out that it sells to somebody else tomorrow? And then you shut up and let them think, because they will give you the number you should write it up at. And then the easy way to just segment to the offer itself is, well, let's not regret it then. And then you take your pen out, you start writing the offer, or you take your iPad out or your laptop and you draft up the offer there. But that is an easy way to at least get past this house, right? Because it's just the start of the process. The offer is just the start of the process. Then the price objection, price aside, do you love the house or do you like the house? Tell me what you like about it. If you're inside the house, even better. At what price would this be a no-brainer for you? And then if there are multiple offers or one other offer on the table, is at what price would you regret not offering if you find out that it sells tomorrow? Then let them tell you the number and say, well, let's not regret it then. And you take out your pen and you start writing. But I hope this was helpful. This is the start of the process. When you open the escrow is one thing. We can chat about how we close the escrow, which is when your client gets excited, you give them the keys, and ultimately you get the commission check. But first step is we have to close them and uncover their motivation and get them a great house. But I'm Jacob Lawler. I'm committed to your success, and I'll see you in the next one.